Fillmore! Drive it 400 yards!
Swami Das's work works only if it is correct that there were people outside the garden. And Swami Das specifically has people outside the garden and before Adam and Eve, so he's presenting his hypothesis in concert with pre-Adamism. I think the only reasonable trajectory for the idea of people outside Eden emerges from the Genesis 4 story, the Cain and Abel story.
Oh, Heiser doesn't know about the main evidence. The Cain story is a good evidence. It is. I would say that's really a secondary evidence, and I would say it's comparable to Genesis 2:15, when God put the man in the Garden of Eden to cultivate it and keep it. The use of keep here, it certainly means there were other people outside. So this and the Cain issue, those are strong, but those are only the second strongest points. So Heiser doesn't know about the main evidence. But the strongest evidence for the pre-Adamite view, folks, is the Tower of Babel. And if you've looked at my book, you already know this. It's on page 7 of the book. And in the top left, you'll find this note. We now arrive at the ultimate proof of the pre-Adamite exposition of the Holy Bible. At the Tower of Babel, the one lip of the Edenic people was mingled with the tongues of surrounding peoples, already existing peoples. All the peoples in the table of nations already existed, and the Edenic clan was shattered apart and mixed in with them all. It's the root meaning of confounded. So, they were mingled with the tongues of surrounding peoples, and families were separated or divided among those peoples per the ascribed toponym. Now, most scholars use eponym here, which is probably okay, but I chose to say toponym because these names of people are nations or cities or locations or islands, a couple of them. And so I say they were divided among those peoples per the ascribed toponym. So Moses ascribed a toponym to the different peoples that absorbed an original Edenic member, an original Edenic clan member. So at the tower, the Edenic people were shattered apart and separated and scattered and mixed in with the other peoples. Just how it happened is, I don't know, I suppose debatable. But that is the true meaning. All the peoples of the world absorbed the Edenic clan. And the note goes on to say this: why it matters. The creation, the paradise, the giants, and the flood were all well known by all the ancients and by the Hebrews themselves, even before they met any prophet named Moses. Folks, when they were in Egypt, they already knew about a flood and so forth, giants. People knew about these things. All of them, all the ancient world knew about this. Moses wasn't saying anything new. These ancient memories were preserved among those peoples whom had been allotted an Edenic family, and cultures interacting with one another engenders widespread knowledge of all the myths in all varieties. This is why you find a flood with variations held among all these different people groups. The Pentateuch contains the real truth of what happened so long ago, providing correction to the blurred representations in shared cultural myths. The Pentateuch shows the loss of paradise, a world of many gods, and Yahweh becoming a God to a new people of choice, so as to restore paradise and thereby bring blessings to the whole earth. It is absolutely essential to proper exposition of the book of Genesis that one understand the Tower event. 1. The one people were separated apart and allotted to various peoples already living on the earth. Not all peoples of the earth were allotted an Edenic family. See note B. These peoples were designated nations and set under the authority of an angel. For example, Peleg and family allotted to the god Ru, and etc. See the Baal symbol. That note for the Baal symbol is found in the primary note in the top center of the page. But I want to show you the most important thing about the tower right here. And this is in the special note in the bottom right corner of page 7. Here is where there are two extremely important evidences for you to consider. I apologize for how small this appears on the screen. Hopefully you can read it. Special note: over many centuries, well-meaning translators have helped Moses along to convey the notion the world population sprang from Noah's 3 sons. Note the absolutely reprehensible rendering in the NASB of Genesis 9:19 below. Now let me pause for a moment and read this to you. Now the sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth, and Ham was the father of Canaan. These 3 were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was populated. That is a mistranslation. The Hebrew word does not mean populated. And of course, Eretz doesn't mean planet Earth, which is what everyone assumes. These English Bibles put an earth in here. That's a terrible idea, because you know what pops in the head of the modern reader when they read the word earth, right? These ancients didn't know about a globe. Now, you could say Eretz means worldwide. It could. Let me get back to reading the note here. Moses never intended to convey such. I'm referring to this ridiculous mistranslation. The narrative never intends to suggest to us that the world population stems from Noah and his 3 sons. So that's what I was talking about when I pick up here. Moses never intended to convey such, and this is proven conclusively by the following 2 major considerations. Here they are, 2 major proofs for you to consider. A. Reception of dispersed Edenic families often occurred among peoples whom share no genealogical lineage. And this is proven in the note in the top center. If you look at Japheth's lineage, you will see that the descendants of Gomer do not literally descend from those people. There's no true relation here. That's a serious, serious problem for the classic exposition. It happens again in the Hamitic lineage. The Canaanite people do not derive from Egyptian stock. There is no relation. And here is the second evidence. Note B. The Hebrews knew of peoples not included in the so-called Table of Nations. They're mentioned in the Bible. Other people groups that aren't in the table. The table's not exhaustive. Uh-oh. The original intent of the narrator was to describe the fracturing apart of the Edenic clan then allotted unto the surrounding non-Edenic people groups. The fracturing apart of the clan and their allotment to these surrounding people groups. That's all it means. It doesn't mean these people trekked out to new locations and populated the place. That's not what it means. And again, you have no idea the dilemmas that are resolved here. Let me mention a third problem. There's no creation of new languages here. There is the Edenic tongue, the one lip of the Edenic people, mixed with other tongues. They are mingled with other people. So God is not creating the languages of the earth here. And again, this resolves very serious problems. Dr. Petrovich has some theories of his own on this language issue, and it's a very difficult problem. Of course, if you just read the narrative correctly in the first place, this problem doesn't even exist. When you're reading Genesis the right way, folks, these major dilemmas don't even exist. How about that?
In my view, and this is where we're going to start, I think the only reasonable trajectory for the idea of people outside Eden emerges from the Genesis 4 story, the Cain and Abel story. In Genesis 4:14, after hearing God's judgment declared, the murderer Cain laments, quote, "My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, you have driven me today away from the ground, and from your face I shall be hidden. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me," unquote. You just face value reading of that. after Cain's, murder of his brother Abel, again, if you're just looking at what the text, says, we only really have Cain, because Abel's dead, Adam and Eve. That's the human population at a face value reading. So who in the world is Cain afraid of? Who are these other people that might kill him?
The real issue here, folks, is that the Lord promises sevenfold vengeance upon those who might slay Cain. Who is he talking to? He's threatening Adam and Eve this way. He's threatening Cain's family this way. That's bizarre. That's truly bizarre.
Let him know where I came from, yeah!